Alright, so we're playing Dowie. Learning Dowie and Coast today. Playing against some Wood Elves to start off with. Our build is a mixed bag of many types of units with a focus on Iron Drakes and Steam Iron Drakes to do most of the damage. We also have some gyros for mobility. And we have the usual hero squad. Let's see, some Blade Singers at the start are going to be taking quite a bit of damage on the approach. So that's good for us, but some Zotes are coming in. There's also some guys in the back line that we have to deal with. And some great Stag Knights that are coming in hot too. Now, I think we really just have to maximize, well, we really have to kill the Blade Singers. That is a certainty. And, oh man, that's a Dryad summon. Now, let's see. Oh man, we also lost our gyros. Whoops. Ugh. And I've been feeling slightly off my game recently, but at the very least, it looks like we have a decent chance in this matchup here. See, let's get, go Trek in there to protect our Thunderers and turn our gyros. We did let our Iron Drakes get caught, but at the very least, it looks like our gyros are at full model count. So that means they'll be able to do just as much damage as they would normally. We just have to be very careful that they don't rout. And our goal is going to be shutting down the cavalry with them. Let's see, and it looks like our front line is doing okay. These team Scolder Guard have been able to shoot for most of the game. So that's nice at the very least. What's our opponent saying? Magic resist debuff is a no. Not sure exactly what he's talking about there. I guess what does a branch wraith have a magic resist debuff? Oh, she does. Ah, I see. Too bad that was not extremely effective there. And it looks like we actually managed to pull off a win against our opponent here. Scolder Guard, yeah, they could be a bit overkill. Wow, they're holding up pretty well against the AP fire of these of the Starfire shafts. That's interesting. But it feels like this build isn't fully optimal. There were some things that could have gone wrong there, and I think our opponent gave us some pretty nice engagements. I'd be tuning this up for sure. See, although they did hold up pretty well, like in general, against the cavalry, so that was nice. Fire damage versus Iron Drakes and Iron Breakers. See, what are you guys talking about? He's talking about Zotes. Okay. Cool. Well, anyways, that's a win. Yeah, I think I already went over my thoughts mostly. We just got some really nice fights with our hero squad. And then Scolder Guard managed to stay alive. But I did a pretty bad job defending my Iron Drakes, and I think my backline could have been defended better. So we're playing Vampire Coast against Dowie, trying Queen Bess with manual fire to increase its fire rate. We don't have any bombers, since they have been recently nerfed, even hit in the AP department. So instead, we're taking animated Hulks, and we're going to be trying to use those guys to break any Dwarf Warrior or Longbeard frontline. Kill Slayers, we got Depth Guard, and to chase off the range units, we have Sirens. So that's about it. But if he does have a ton of cannons, it will be a little bit of a problem. In fact, maybe I want to deploy Bess further back if he has cannons. I think so. There is a downside that Rangers will be able to hit Bess a little bit. Yeah, if he deploys rangers in the back, that'd be sort of annoying versus Bess. So we're going to put dogs there just to scout it out. And if we do find rangers, we have our sirens to run them down. So good luck, have fun to our opponent. See how it goes. Shame Bess doesn't have 360 fire. That'd be interesting. Alright, and our opponent has opted for a Vanguard army. Cool. Now he does get a solid first volley off. And there are blasting charges on the way, and I also took all of the spells. Now that isn't the worst thing in the world. Just got just a slight gold deficit. Not the worst thing in the world. Now let's see. Some miners are moving towards us. But we are able to start chasing off some of the miners. That's a plus. And we should actually be able to start getting onto that back line. Nice. Those sirens are engaged in combat, so they don't really need healing at this moment. And we can also turn Bess to start shutting down those Bugman's Rangers over there. Our Scurvy Dogs can also begin their advance. And it's looking like those animated Hulks are doing pretty bad in the melee. Maybe next time I'll just go for... for Mourngulls instead. Ooh, those miners almost got a really nice blasting volley on my guys too. That would have been a pretty big problem. But I am happy that our depth guard are finding their intended targets. Being able to dive onto those sirens is definitely very good. Now we're chasing off range units. These sirens will continue to hold. Those ones actually just died, which is bad. And I think I want to heal those ones up, especially since if they die, we lose a lot of our cavalry. Sirens are basically cavalry here. Let's see. I also see some Bugman's Rangers over here, and they do a crazy amount of damage to depth guard. So to prevent that from happening, we're sending over some zombies. We're shooting them with Bess. And as long as the Rangers are shut down, our depth guard will be able to win the day for us. So let's see. I think now is the time to shut down the bolt thrower. We have Queen Bess firing. We haven't actually done too much manual fire yet. It's a bit of a shame. Our sirens are losing to slayers. Now, this is normal. Let's see. Here we go. Now we can do a manual fire. And that one should hit. No, we overshoot. Rip. Oh, man. It looks like my depth guard are dying over here, too. That's a bit of a disappointment. You guys need to run. It looks like it's because they're getting shot. So yeah, they just need to back up. However, we've shut down a lot of the rangers here, and as long as we have one depth guard unit, I think we're okay. These sirens can run away from the slayers without worrying about getting caught. So they can just safely disengage. And then we should be good there. At this point, there are a bunch of stragglers just around the map, but that's why we brought the Scurvy Dogs. So they're just going to break apart all of these guys. And see, we will be losing a depth guard though. Definitely painful. Rangers shooting at sirens. But they're completely fine with that. And we have some miners that are getting a little bit close to Bess here. So we're just gonna rout them off. Easily enough. And then continue on our merry way. We did miss my guard dogs a bit. And those Bugman's Rangers will actually... I think they'll actually win the fight if my dogs decided to charge into them. And in fact, those miners too are doing a lot of damage. So a little bit of a miscalculation there from me. Scurvy Dogs are not great fighters against the Dowie. You really want sirens or depth guard. So let's just go continue to run with our dogs, and then I think I'll probably put a Nehek into them. Their survival is paramount, since they are my only fast unit. So can my lord get to them? No, they actually disintegrate. So we're gonna have to rely on the animated hulks now. Deal with the rangers, and of course Queen Bess, which we still have quite a bit of ammunition for. So thank goodness for that. But these dwarf forces are advancing. There's also a dwarf lord who would be a little bit annoying, but only a little bit. We have our vampire lord, and she actually has some pretty decent stats. Let's see here, and along with that, she also has her pistol, and she'll be able to kite down that lord, no problem. We're also seeing the effects of me losing my scurvy dogs. These rangers that are coming back are able to fire in at me without really getting punished, which sucks a bit. But at the very least, balance of power is looking our way. So I think we're probably fine. Death Guard are fine too. In fact, I think they can probably take out those rangers over there. Nice. There we go. Actually, Queen Bess managed to do that herself, so that works out for me. Now, Bess having served its purpose means that we can now buff up our ammunition here instead, and that actually helps us bring the dwarves down to army losses. So there we go. We managed to do it. Yeah, that guy, he went very hard on archers. And I think that was a pretty bad idea. All we needed were just a few melee units to run them off. But it's honestly not the worst idea versus Vampire Coast. But deploying that like that close up is sort of a problem, as we saw there. So dwarves against lizardmen. We have a mixed army. I'm going to be trying to mix in some gyros just in general for all my armies, just to keep them mobile, to have something to micro. And then after that, it's a whole lot of dwarves. We'll hopefully be able to hold the line, at least long enough for my damage dealers to do their thing. So quarrelers will go far back. We will have warrior great weapons here to defend them. Then we're going to have rangers even further back, who are going to be covering this left flank if he brings any skinks in. Whoops. You know what? Let's put them on the right flank since it's a little bit more flat here. And see how this goes. So usually lizardmen will try to counter this with a very long flank with skinks, and in doing so, hopefully they if they go for a long flank, I'm hoping that we'll be able to win along here, turn, and then go this way. I'm dissuading him from going this way, my gyrocopters, and that's basically the build. Let's see how this goes. We don't have that much infantry to hold the line, so things could get a bit sketchy. And wow, that's a big army. He has Pterodon riders, quite a few Pterodon riders actually, and deployed on the same side I am. Gyros can trade into them though, but they'll have to be careful. We also have an organ gun support though, which helps quite a bit. And wow, the brimstone guns actually tear through those pterodons pretty well. So let's get another volley in. And there's not much for our organ gun to shoot at, so we'll continue to work on these pterodons. Let's see. I see some are coming along the flank. Let's deal with them. And let's actually throw down a slow now. We don't want them to be dropping too many rocks on top of my troops. Let's see. One of them gets to drop rocks on my organ gun, but then gets routed off. And I think it's pretty important here that we actually start chasing. As for this battle over here, there are a lot of red-crested skinks, which is good for our miners. Meanwhile, see some skinks are moving in, and these guys need to focus those Croxagores. We've debuffed their armor and missile resist. Well, actually, missile resist on shields, so less important. But we put a debuff on them. And hopefully they'll be able to go down to some archer fire. There's also a lot of fighting going on here, so let's give some damage resistance. And we'll also start pulling our troops backwards. As we can afford to kite here, there's not a lot of mobility on the lizardman side. However, he is collapsing our lines in a pretty scary fashion. But deploying the rangers this far back over here is actually working out pretty well for us. They've been able to just have a free shooting range, which I'm quite liking. Maybe I'll do some back deployed rangers in the future. I've also been keeping an eye on my gyros. I did lose sight of them for a second, but you have to make sure when they finish chasing off units that come back as soon as possible. Now, of course, this lizardman build could have been a lot worse for us. I think more Croxagores is something that you'd have to worry about as the Dowie. And with one troll hammer, it's you only have enough to kill one Croxagore unit. I'm also not sure what would have happened if he had managed to send infantry here onto my rangers. But this build at the very least seems okay. Let's see. We haven't used our bombs terribly efficiently either. But when these quarrelers get engaged on, it will be a good time to, wait a second, he has fire leech bolas on these guys. That's a little bit strange, I will say. They're definitely not a super optimized lizardman build. And here we go, we do finally get to, we are finally able to drop our bombs. So, there we go. And we're dropping them on Saurus specifically, because they are the highest threat unit for us now. So those guys are routing. There are some skinks over there, but we're not too worried about them. And instead, we can keep our gyros focused on high priority targets like Gorok over here. He's slowed, which means he won't be able to catch my Rune Lord. And we're just going to continue cutting away from him while we snipe with our gyros. So this is working out okay for us. But the lizardmen build wasn't extremely optimized. The idea feels a lot better than a lot of my other dwarf builds. However, so that's a plus. Gorok is now routing too. And these quarrelers managed to fight off the skinks. So good on them. They're a decent melee combatant. Well, actually, it doesn't say they're a decent melee fighter. Interesting. But they have good enough stats to ward off skinks. So that works out. And we get another win. Sick. There we go. So this guy took 5 fire leech bolas. I think he would have been much better if he opted for normal pterodons instead. They're much better against gyros. More Croxagores too, and probably fewer red cresteds. Let's see. Come on, they're a bit OP, unless crumbling was quicker. Yeah, no. Handguns were definitely very strong. I would say Vampire Coast as a whole wasn't the worst, since they did have they had two bad matchups which they would ban, dwarves and high elves. And I think they had a bunch of even matchups, that being the verse Empire, verse Vampire Counts, and verse Tomb Kings. I felt we're pretty even, at least in my practice sessions with clanmates. You can definitely make it work, but you have to know the ins and out of the matchup. But then after that, it becomes about even. Nevertheless, I think the nerf was warranted. It is just a bit too bad for me. And it knocks me down a peg pretty significantly. I would lean very much on those strong units earlier. Bombers too. So now I actually have to get good, which is what we're doing now. Although at the very least against wood elves, I think Vampire Coast probably does okay. So if wood elves do get out of hand, we have Vampire Coast as a counter. And we could see here our opponent going for a bunch of Glade Guard and Drycha. Means that I think we're in a good position. So we just slowly march up with our deck gunners. He does have Dryads, which can engage our troops. But it's not too bad. So we have our deck gunners. They're going to be focusing down the Glade Guard. We have Scurvy Dogs. We'll be dealing with the Deepwood Scouts. And we can see there just one volley from my deck gunners already nearly kill those guys, so that's good. And Scurvy Dogs, you can go do your thing. So you can go there. There are some Glade Rider spears over there, but a little bit slow on the draw. Means that our dogs will be able to get a lot of damage on the Deepwood Scouts. Noctilus. Also getting close to Drycha. Which I think he can fight, no problem. So he's going to go there. And now it becomes a micro battle between my dogs and the cavalry. So these guys, oh dear, need to get behind my halberds. Zombies can block those guys up. And there is a bit of a problem in that I don't have as many handguns as I used to. And that means that I can't really defend these guys especially well. Now, if we get that cavalry unit down, that is very good, because it means, yes, we can chase them off with the dogs immediately. That's a huge plus. Let's see. These Dryads are taking a beating, and we have our right flank secured by crabs. Oh dear. Those Glade Riders, though, are going to be a problem. I think I have to sacrifice my dogs to them. It's a little bit too bad, but I think that sacrifice was worth it. Now, this guy actually has a lot of cavalry. And I did say earlier that maybe Vampire Coast can counter Wood Elves. But it's looking a little bit rough right now. I gotta say. This is not the best situation to be in. Mostly due to Noctilus being nearly dead. But he's in a safe place now. Still have our zombie summons. And we still have dogs that can chase off archers. Although, actually, all of our dogs are still alive, which is surprising to me. And our deck gunners are online too. They'll be able to kill those Way Watchers. Actually, I'm surprised that there were Way Watchers there. I would have thought that all the stuff here were Deepwood Scouts. But whatever. Let's see, our... what are these guys called? Lamprey's Revenge are doing well. We've chased off a unit of Way Watchers, which is good. And, you know what? Some summons can deal with those archers. So there we go. We're holding up some more Dryads here. But we're letting our dogs get caught by cavalry. That's pretty rough. And we're down to 1 unit of doggos. We have been blessed with the fact that our deck gunners have been online for so long. But yeah, I really should not be losing this many dogs. They are key to victory here. Some Glade Riders are coming in hot. So Noctilus, you need to heal up those dogs. We'll continue using our crabs to defend. And then hopefully we'll be okay. There's some more dryads over here, and if our opponent brings them onto our deck gunners, that'd be a problem. He does see this, and he is moving in onto the deck gunners, and Noctilus will have to come into support too. And my dogs are getting charged again by cavalry. Oh man, big misplays on my part. But at the very least, it looks like the cavalry's mucked up. Ooh, but those dogs really gotta live. They really gotta live. Let's try to give them some leadership. Oh no, not like this. Come on, they gotta live. And in 2, 1. Okay, so we got a healing on them. Healing rock on them. So hopefully they make it. And we're going to try to continue peeling for our deck gunners. Things are getting really close now. But Lamprey's Revenge are good. And you know what? I think our next strategy is going to be relying on the Lamprey's Revenge. They have their they have very high armor. So really only Way Watchers are able to deal with them. And as soon as we get those Way Watchers routed off, I think it's fine, but we had a big oopsie losing so many of our dogs, and there go the last of them. Let's see, there are only Deepwood Scouts and Glade Guard left though. It's Noctilus versus Drycha. Noctilus does have healing, and Lamprey's Revenge have their regeneration, of course. Our deck gunners are just going to continue firing. And they'll just be sacrificing their lives to get as much damage on these archers as possible. Way Watchers are down to 6 models, which means that they're not too much of a problem. And now it's just Noctilus and the Lamprey's Revenge. We do manage to rout off another unit of Glade Guard. And if we kill Drycha, I think we'll be okay. Oh man, that was really sketchy though. Usually I would have a ton of handguns to kill the Deepwood Scouts, but instead I cut them to take the Lamprey's Revenge. And in doing so, it meant that we got overrun by infantry a lot harder than usual. Now, let's see, we do have a Wraith Storm, and I guess I'll use that on some Dryads. And the Way Watchers are back, and they have a surprising amount of shots. So, it could be a problem. It is only 6 of them, though. And we can dodge it decently. And there we go, nice. They actually rout because Drycha is running. So, that's good. There's still a lot of archer fire coming in. But I think that is the last of the Wood Elf ranged. And as soon as Drycha is taken out by the Lamprey's Revenge, they still have tons of ammo left. And we're good. But how much HP does she have? 94. 60. One more shot should shatter her. Nope, that shot missed. Those shots mostly missed. But it doesn't matter. We get a win. Oh, man. That was a little bit too close for comfort. The new Wood Elf cavalry here is super good. You can see that even though I had 4 dogs, we had a very hard time jumping those archers. However, we did so just well enough to pull through a win. So I guess it sort of works out. Let's go into my build. We are going Dowie against Wood Elves again. We've bought a We've brought a pretty mixed bag army again. And we're doing the far back deployment of our Bugman's Rangers. These guys are going to cover our normal Rangers if there is a rush. And they can hold their own. They get charged by Stag Knights. Our opponent has brought Drycha, along with some Glade Guard and War Dancers. Also some Eternal Guard too. Is interesting. He's definitely missing a lot of his army. I'm not sure where they are exactly. Okay, at the very least, you can start off by shooting Drycha and wasting the ammo of these Glade Guard. If you position the movement of your gyros correctly, you can dodge arrows and fire at the same time without skipping a beat. And here we go. We are now seeing the the cavalry of the Wood Elves charging out of the forest to dive in on my Bugman's Rangers, but they got charge defense against large, so they will actually hold out pretty well, and we can give them missile resist too. There are the ROR Stag Knights there, but they are but they do magic damage, and the Dowie are resistant there. Oh, there's a pendulum. Hits my Dowie pretty hard. And you know, we are still running into some issues here. Our Iron Drakes will need to hit those War Dancers. And I think I probably want to be killing those Knights. There are also some Dryads here, which are a problem. But how am I gonna deal with them? Let's see. How do we deal with them? Wow, those Stag Knights too did a lot of damage. Okay, so we're having issues all around right now. But at the very least, we're about to kill those Stag Knights. Our Bugmans will come back from routing with some nice regeneration. And Drycha shouldn't really be able to stop my Iron Drakes from roasting War Dancers. So we have that on our side. There we go. Those are some routing Stag Knights. These guys can shoot those Stag Knights. These guys need to finish them off. And we have the Glade Guard on the run. Our miners could be more useful, throwing their blasting charges at those guys. We're gonna eat another pendulum, which it hurts for sure. Hurts a lot. Jeez, I thought it was nerfed. Anyways, it was nerfed, but it's still very strong, so you have to be careful there. Glade Knights in the back are recovering too. But our miners still have blasting charges. They are uncompromised, and our Slayers are also able to support our Iron Drakes, punishing the Wood Elves for jumping on top of them. So that's good. But yet more Dryad summons are coming in, and there are still War Dancers around. In fact, there's some fighting my Bugman's Rangers, and they really need to get bombed by my Gyrocopters. Let's see how the Stag Knights doing. They are routing, which is good. But there's some Stag Knights here too. Definitely a problem. Some more War Dancers at high HP. This could be an issue. My Slayers too are caught up in a fight that they do not want to be in. And it seems like I might have just had not enough War Dancer tech. But we shall see. We're going to throw down some buffs here to keep those Slayers alive as long as possible. But I'm really not feeling too good about those War Dancers. Our troops chasing out the Glade Guard have also fallen. And it looks like we're gonna have to rely on some really good bombs. So let's get into position. Release the first payload. Reposition again. And hopefully they start routing. Although it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. At the very least. Oh man, they're so close to routing. Come on. If we do get them routing, that is good, and they do. We drop another another bomb on the war dancers there, but we don't have any fighters left. The wood elves are much better fighters than the Dowie. And you know what? I think I might have been wasting my time shooting Drycha too at the beginning of the game, since I am really only able to punish her now. And we also hit army losses. Yeah, our Bugmans did okay against the Stag Knights, but I think they really could have had some gyrocopter support there. Let's see, yeah. 4 War Dancers. We only had 1 Iron Drake. They could have done better there. Our Bugmans did okay, but they didn't really pay for themselves. And my Rangers did really bad there. They probably should have been a lot further back, actually, now that I think about it. Maybe we could have gone, like, super wide. In fact, I think if we just took, like, 8 Rangers, we might have been okay. I'm not sure. Drycha with her summons, too, were just a pain to deal with. And these weren't, these were Wardens of Sithwell. They didn't get too much damage, though. It really came down to all those War Dancers and the Stags ruining my backline. But anyways, we're Vampire Coast against Wood Elves again. But this time, we're opting for a rush. So as we are rushing, using this hill, cover us from archers, it will be a plus. And we'll also be using our dogs, catch any archers that we run into. Our Mourngulls will be deployed slightly forwards, since I think they were a little bit slower than Sirens. Yeah, they are a little bit slower than Sirens. So just to make sure that they can get in position a little bit faster, they will be deployed on the sides. We also have zombies in the center, just to make sure that that they push back the ranged units. They'll be able to force the infantry to fight them, and then the Mourngulls will hopefully be able to finish them off. There's also a Rotting Promethean gunnery mob, just to punish any amount of non-AP play from Soter, our opponent. And nice, it looks like he has a very similar build to last time. Cool. We are rushing though, and his Glade Rider spears are very far in the back. They're there because you don't want to get ambushed by dogs from behind. Now, let's see. We can go for a nice deny flank here, and I'm looking to try and catch out these ROR branch rates. Our dogs can continue to play keep away over here on the right flank, and Luther will have to be very careful to dodge all of these archer shots. I'm wondering how well the Glade Riders do against Mourngulls. They might be able to do okay, and they could be pretty dangerous. But I'd like to see it. We also need to move our Vampire Caster up, and our dogs, and now begins the big engagement. Sirens most definitely have to stay away from Dryads. Our Rotting Prometheans are also taking a pretty big beating. And they need to move back. Luther can actually get a breath attack on some Way Watchers, which is nice. And our zombies need to continue advancing. The zombies need to continue advancing. Push back the archers. Okay, so nice Sirens are going to dive on those archers while my Mourngulls pull back to deal with the Dryads. Luther is engaged now, but he'll have to be careful not to just get shot to death. Luckily, we will be able to stop some of those archers with our zombies. And our dogs who are diving in now. That works out pretty well. Be able to throw down a heal, but oh no, my caster is a little bit too far away. Let's see, zombies are going to continue pushing forwards. Dogs are getting in a lot of damage. Sirens were engaged on Glade Riders. Very good position for them to be in. And nice. Nice. A big rout of archers. Works for us. But some of our dogs are dying now. Which can cause some problems for sure. Ooh, a nice Dryad summon. Coming in from our opponent. Will delay our scurvy dogs and may actually get some kills on them. Let's see, these Glade Rider spears also continue to be extremely annoying. And we are getting some of our sirens caught up. Things are looking a little bit rough, but we still have many of our mobile dogs. They are going to engage now with these sirens, which will hopefully be enough to kill all of these Glade Riders. And man, is it. They do a lot of damage thanks to those sirens. But man, more Glade Riders just shutting down my dogs. A huge pain for sure. But they'll continue running. And we'll continue compromising these archers. We have Mourngulls to back us up. So we're far from out of this game. Let's see, Glade Riders continue to run around. But with some nice dog micro, we should be able to keep the majority of them busy. Ooh, balance of power is now tipping in the favor of the Wood Elves. But I think we managed to catch the Glade Riders and yet more zombies, which is a plus. And we still have a lot of mobility. Luther can now start to hunt down Drycha, which should be good for him. And these zombies can slowly move in to intercept these Way Watchers. See, we're also finally about to take out all of this cavalry. I like that. We still have a unit of Mourngulls too. And I think the focus right now is making sure that Luther doesn't die. He's going to dive in on one unit of Way Watchers, which means that it's just a unit of Glade Guard firing at him, which are much less threatening. Let's see, it looks like another Dryad summon comes down though, right on top of my sirens. Means that they have to engage as quickly as possible. Our Caster Lord is also getting pretty stuck up in the fight. But she's almost out of magic anyways, so that's not too bad. Nice, we've chased off another unit of archers, and Luther is fighting the Glade Guard, while our dogs shut down the range units. Those are two good engagements for us. So we'll just continue pushing that. Luther can now take off fire at will. We want as much ammo as possible for Drycha. And we just have to keep him alive. I'm going to put a healing on my dogs instead of Luther, which can be risky since Luther can die. But I think the dogs are more important right now. Drycha too is hunting down Luther. And we can see the benefits of healing up those dogs means that they did not die against against that cavalry charge. But the downside is that Luther is taking a beating. He is continuing to get shot by Way Watchers, even as they are getting munched on by the scurvy dogs. Oh, and a big volley comes in. But that's the last of their ammo. Okay, thank goodness for that. Let's see. I think a breath attack on Drycha could be good. But, oh man, what are these guys? Glade Guard are continuing to shoot in on Luther. And we're gonna have to rely on that regeneration. He is, I think he's crumbling. But we have our Night Terrors still at 12 models, which that is good. And Luther has stabilized, so he can go ahead and shoot Drycha. Our Night Terrors are also dealing with a lot of those archers. Drycha looks like she's set up to kill my fleet admiral. Definitely don't want that. And the balance of power still isn't on my side. I guess it's because Drycha is at such high HP. But at the very least, we have Luther slowly healing up. And we're just going to use a breath attack on these dryads to hopefully get them routed. But the breath attack misses. So that could be bad. Hello, Sep. And okay, nice. We're going to route the dryads. But there is still Drycha, and the nerf to Luther's ammo going to present itself now. Because he actually has no ammunition left. Kill that branch wraith. The more archer fire is coming in on the Night Terrors. And actually, yeah, those guys have quite a bit of ammo left. But Luther will be able to dive in on top of them. So that should be okay. And we can get our zombies too in on the action. There we go. Luther dives in on the Glade Guard. He should be able to deal with them. Some Deepwood Scouts are firing onto Luther. He will be taking damage from that. But right now he's up to 700 HP. So he should do okay. Deepwood Scouts are continuing to get in that damage. And you know what? We don't really have to engage them. They're gonna run out of ammo soon anyways. But oh no, that's where the balance of power was. A hidden unit of Dryads comes out. And we might actually hit army losses. Which actually sucks quite a bit. Because I think if we had killed Drycha there, we might have been able to just terror out those Dryads. But, you know, it was a close game anyways. And I think our opponent did pretty well there. Once again, I think we let our dogs die a bit too early. We could have controlled them a bit better. But it's getting a lot harder with this new cavalry force. Our Sirens, I think they did okay dodging the Dryads. Wow, they actually didn't get too much damage. Same with the Moringulls too. They got shot up by a lot of archers. And in general, I would say, I don't think a Vampire Coast Rush is the strongest thing ever. Wow, even our Rotting Prometheans getting basically no value. And yeah, just because a Vampire Coast Rush against Wood Elf archers, it's not very strong against these guys, the new Glade Riders. Even if you have a ton of dogs, it's very hard to jump on top of archers. And then yeah, they can just walk back because Vampire Coast is a slow faction.